Welcome, everyone, to the Quad Damage Podcast. And as usual, we have myself, Deadforge, and Robert. We are missing Medium today, but we do have the developer for... Oh, shit. It just slipped my mind. No.
Goldeneye.
Night Jackal. Yeah, GoldenEye. Anyway, we have the developer of Night Jackal, Blood Debt, Heath Michaels. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Good to be here.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, the game looks really cool, so I'm excited to talk about it.
Let's
get booming.
Get booming. Heath, thank you very much for joining us. A new banging game from DOSMan Games is on its way, I should say, which we've had a playthrough, and it turned out to be much more than I expected it. I thought it'd be just like a ultra fun kind of shoot 'em up, and it turned out to be surprisingly more adult and deeper than I expected it to be. But it's very different from the first game. So for the viewers watching, Night Jackal Blood Debt is it a spin-off or is it a direct sequel?
No, it's just a completely different beast, and that's kind of the beauty of Night Jackal is, I mean, it's whatever the hell you want it to be.
Yeah,
I'm not precious about this IP. It's just kind of, we have fun and do a lot of fun things. So, when Sam approached me and wanted to turn that game into an FPS, I told him, I said, well, definitely could do that. We'll see what it is. Because him having a gun, I was like, that's just not something I ever saw Night Jackal having. And I said, but I'm not opposed to it. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
And that's what it's been the whole time. It's just like us having a lot of fun. And even the musicians that are involved, I always tell them the same thing. I'm just like, just fucking have fun. Like, get in there and like, don't
Banging
get too
tune.
Yeah.
Night Jackal.
Well, because the intro theme, right? Like, that one's a lot of fun. That's one of those that's like, when I reached out to young Cray, who created that one, I told him, I said, just forget whatever notes I give you. Like, I'll give you stuff, but like, just go enjoy yourself. He told me it was one of the funnest things he ever worked on.
It's good to be like not
voice.
not so serious with the IP per se, and to kind of be a bit more loose and able to, goof around, try some new things, and have fun with it. Because I feel like that's something that's, I mean, as a developer or someone composing music, it's something a bit more, I guess, out of the ordinary from your typical type of job. So, a lot more creative stuff can come about when you're able to kind of let loose. Just cool. It's good to hear.
And also, it was the source material for that theme song was, I don't know if you guys remember the Sega Daytona song. It was like,
remember the game.
That song?
Yeah.
That was the inspiration.
Yep.
I said, you hear this?
Okay.
I was like, and now this is what's about. It's about a revenge. So it's like taking this really upbeat, fun, like racing Daytona USA game song, and like now it's about this sort of revenge, like this. Your fiance is murdered in the most violent way, and like, and just have fun with it.
That was well shocking when obviously you've already given away, the intro in there, so it's not going to be a spoiler. But when I walked in the room and she was kind of lying on the bed, I was like, Jesus, man, okay, this game's kind of going there, So,
yeah. Well, the concept is, basically, Night Jackal came from a couple different things happening at one time. One was, I was watching this streamer that I was a big fan of back in the day, and like, I used to go there all the time and watch his streams. And he mentioned one time, he's like, man, if I ever made a game, I think he said, and I can't remember fully, but I think he said he would make some retro game, but like make it as offensive as possible. And I was like, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
So that was one side.
Yeah.
The other side was, at the same time, I was always thinking about Batman and these different characters from the comic books that are have this perfect moral compass. So
Mhm.
like Batman's a perfect example because it's obviously that's the character that gets satirized the most with Nightjack. There's others like Booster Gold and things like that, but Batman is like the main one that gets satirized, and it's because here's a character who has affluenza. He has to have affluenza, right? He has to be this billionaire son who he didn't rise to this billionaire status himself. He was born into it. And you mean to tell me after this one incident where his parents, by the way, go to a theater amongst the common element, billionaires. I mean, I'm not talking about like, this is like old school billionaires. This is not like today where like billionaires are slowly becoming like the millionaires of yesteryear. This is like, you are a captain of industry and you're walking around with your wife with a pearl necklace. And okay, that always seems so stupid to me. And then like goes and gets killed by the common element. And then Batman's first inclination is like, well, I've got to just wipe out this criminal element instead of it being like this disdain for the common man and associate, because he has to be so far removed. So that was the first thing. I said, if this guy has affluenza and he became a superhero, he's not going to have a perfect moral compass. Yeah. And so why not satirize that? If you have somebody, and I've never really gotten fully into it. Like you get into it a little bit in this game. There's like, you get the 1989 Hollywood Hills, but it's Lily Grove in our universe, but Hollywood Hills type of party. And, they're doing drugs and there's women and, it's all the gross shit from Hollywood and the womanizing and all. That's what Bruce Wayne would be doing. He'd be doing the grossest things. He's not out there fighting. In fact, this is one of the funny things about Bruce Wayne. Every time you see Batman in the comics and the cartoons, he winds up in the shadows, like creeping in somebody's office, and they walk in, like the mayor will walk into his office and turn around and there's Batman just creeping. And it's never the first conversation like, what the hell are you doing here? It's always like immediately Batman starts in, Commissioner Gordon told me the Joker escaped. And it's just like, what are you getting to business for? Like, we should be discussing why the hell you just did a B&E, like breaking and entering into my place. But that's never the universe. And I always had a problem with it. That's one reason I'm not a big DC fan. I'm a big Marvel fan, not a big DC fan. So I've always had a problem with Batman. I love Batman, but this was one area I said he needs to be satirized. He needs to have holes poked in his lore.
I'm a big Batman fan as well, but I think a lot of, including some Marvel stuff, I think a lot of like popular superhero stuff, they really try to lean towards the kid-friendly aspect of things. So you never get like, it's like, why did you break into my office and like, like just lurk in the corner in the shadows and wait for me to pop out, and then you're like, here I am, and just they never really talk about that. And like the billionaire element, like all you ever see Batman do is like talk to some people at a ballroom or something. You never really see anything else that would like put him into that element. Like he's really not going to be that different from your typical billionaire or millionaire or person with that status outside of his main, agenda as far as being this, pseudo savior of the people, even though it's more of a revenge trip. You get those occasional ones that delve into deeper stuff with like Punisher and stuff like that, but it's pretty rare that they go that way, that's why I like things like Sin City and stuff like that. It makes it a little bit better.
So what you're saying is Zack Snyder's Batman was the best Batman?
No, because he still had a moral compass that was. In fact, if you watch the latest, true,
mind you, Michael Keaton killed people as well, and that was a big fuss at the time. Yeah,
he did, but if you watch the Flash movie, like even you see Batman kind of rolling, it's like he's just there, ready to, care for the people, do the right thing for the people. Like, there's no way Batman would ever, if he is who we know him as, like he's got affluenza, which he obviously would. I mean, this is a kid that was in boarding schools. His best friend was an aging 80-year-old butler. Like he is not going to have. He's not going to join the Justice League. You know what I'm saying? There's just no world where he's doing that. So that's what Night Jackal started off as, was like poking holes in that idea And then the conversation about like, well, why not make a retro game that was completely irreverent and stupid, and like these would mesh together perfectly. And then that's really where the genesis of it came from.
Yeah.
Because I wanted the most punishingly hard thing to develop, and when we make the game, I wanted to be punishingly hard to the people play. That's why people get pissed. They play it. I mean, they don't get pissed, but they play it. They love it, but then they get infuriated to some degree because like it's so hard. And I'm like, yeah it is hard because that's the way the '80s games were.
Yeah. Even from the trailer, I thought that it was hilarious because I played obviously parts of Blood Debt, and then I actually didn't realize that it was like the same game within the same universe. So I went back on the Steam page and I had a look at the trailer, and I'm like, man, this dude's using a lot of bad language, and he sounds like he would be the kind of person that would be like, back pimp slapping, women in alleys and that sort of thing. To get to the bad guys, he's not afraid to kind of do what's necessary. But when we first started the game and the cabinet opened up to show the suit in it, it immediately reminded me of both Keaton and Ben Affleck when their cabinets open and they stood there for a second looking at the bat suit, and you just know you're like, shit's about to go down. It's time for it, sort of thing. Sam came to us with a few games, and there were some that I was a fan of. There were some that Deadforge was a fan of, and he really, really, really liked Night Jackal. In fact, you said something like it was it 1,000 times better than some of the other games that we'd been pitched or something like that.
I mean, like when I saw Night Jackal, it reminded me, it was like Batman. It kind of reminded me of the Phantom as well, which I was going to ask if there's any kind of inspiration from stuff like the Phantom and like those older like 50s style.
Yeah, there is
old school comics.
It's sort of a combination of like it's it's a lot of things. I mean, you're talking about, I'm an old man. I'm old. And so that's from years and years and years of like reading comics and as a child to an adulthood and all that. Probably a little too adult reading, but yeah, 100%. It's all the things that have informed me through the years.
Yeah, and I saw like you had the grappling hook in there, and it just seems like another one of those games made in this engine that's like kind of pushing the limits again. Like I think what was it? Satan really did that.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think what was
Reverend?
Yes.
Yeah,
Reverend really did that.
Looking forward to Reverend's sequel as well when it comes out. Yeah.
I feel like each time we get like a new game in Easy FPS Editor, I feel like it's just somehow people keep pushing it, and just making cooler and cooler stuff. Time goes on. Even Sam's games with like Scarab and stuff like that. I mean, he's doing some crazy stuff. Like Scarab is like, it's crazy open and just massive. And it's just really cool. So I think it's cool to see this. Just like when I saw the game, I was like, oh man, I didn't think you could do some of these things in Easy FPS Editor, and it just all looks really cool. It also kind of reminded me of was it Fallen Aces a little bit?
Which one is Fallen Aces?
That's of a
it's
setting.
A New Blood title set in Prohibition era. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
An immersive sim, and it has like a kind of comic book art style. There's actually a vigilante superhero type character in that game.
Yeah. That's cool.
Also kind of reminded me. There's a similar color scheme there and stuff, and it's kind of funny. But yeah, I forget what he's called though. It's been a minute.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out because that sounds
it's
right
really
up
cool
my
game.
alley. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, all the DOSMan games that they've been releasing. I told Sam this. I don't know if he was listening because I was on stream and he was in the chat, so I don't know if he bounced at that point. But I told him, I was like, the two games that I'm just such a fan of is he did one of the ninja game. I can never remember the names, like Flash of the
Blade.
Flash of the Blade.
Flash of the Blade.
X.
Yeah.
He would prefer X.
Yeah, the new one.
I was like, you have ninjas from the 1980s. I said, you got me wrapped because like who the hell doesn't want to shoot like throwing stars? So that one's great. And then he's got the new one that's like Blood. Was it Blood Match? It's like it's like Gladiator style.
Yeah, the Gladiator one. Yeah,
that's got me hooked. Those are the two things. It's like he he's making games for me now. I feel like.
Yeah, right.
Apparently, you might recognize one of the voices in the upcoming Gladiator game as well.
Is it you?
Not me. No. It's
Yeah.
He's actually.
I'm voicing a character in the game.
He's
I'm
actually
pointing like everybody knows who I'm pointing at. You or you?
So,
You or
yeah,
you?
Deadforge is going to appear, and he's already appeared in one of them as well. Was it Reaper? Was
Yeah. It was Reaper. Yeah, I did.
Right on.
I did one line, one word in Reaper.
Yeah.
I was the. Is it the executioner character?
I think
it was.
It is. Yeah. Scully did the jester, which is just the
which
stuff
is my
of
favorite one.
nightmares.
It's my favorite one because you're going through and you just hear, what was it? What is it he says?
It's really high pitched. I just remember that. Yeah.
But it says something. And it's comical, but it's also creepy.
Yeah.
It's like, and you're like, what's happening? And they just come around the corner. And it's great.
That's amazing.
So with just talking about Blood Debt again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just out of the blue, I got contacted by Sam, and he loved the first game, and he was like, "Hey, are you interested in turning this into an FPS?" Never thought of anything like that, and I like sort of like the fact that he would reach out and think that would work as an FPS. I was like, "Hey, I like when you come with that weird energy, man. I love it." And Sam is so passionate. I mean, like
he is, yeah.
And that's a big thing. So I have a really good bullshit radar, and it's because I just moved to Austin, Texas from LA. So I've worked out there with a bunch of flakes and all that.
Yeah.
And so my bullshit detector is good. And I know when somebody's passionate and not just a flake.
Yeah.
And within 3 words from this guy, I was like, I know he's the real deal. And he's actually lucky, or rather I'm lucky, because when he contacted me, my website that he contacted me through, the contact form wasn't even working for months, and I had no idea. So I had just updated it maybe hours prior to him reaching out to me. So I'm very fortunate that actually worked.
The universe was speaking.
Yeah, he reached out to me and he said, "You want to turn this into FPS?" I was like, "Yes." I don't think he realized like how bizarrely different this would turn into, but I mean, you grab the bull by the horns, you got to know what you expect. And I was like, this is just kind of how I do things.
Right. Does the game have the same kind of tone as the first one? Like the same? No? Okay.
Completely different game. Completely different. It's actually different from the comic story. I mean, there's overlap. And it's like every time I start into something, it's like I go, what can this be? Its own original thing. So
is it still like vulgar and aspects of that kind of stuff? I guess it's real.
It's not the same type of vulgarity as the first one. The first one's very irreverent and sort of, I mean, it's got some of the like I recorded all the voices for Night Jackal on the first one, and it was just like coming up with the silliest comedy lines I could come up with for
it has serious Sam sort of energy, in my opinion. It has that kind of
good.
Yeah. This one doesn't have any recorded lines. I mean, it may at some point, because there's something that happens at the end. I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah.
That sort of pieces together a lot of things that I know that you've seen in the game if you played it, especially when you get into the prison sequence and before and after, like when you're in the void and the dream sequence kind of stuff that happens. That all kind of comes together. Then you get into Paradoxia and you go to the hideout, and Paradoxia is one of the characters, and it gets into like flashbacks and like it's kind of nuts.
The Paradoxia was introduced in like the cutscene before, because he was talking about how he fought Paradoxia the week before or something like that.
Yeah. So you go back to that fight using something called the scenario protocol, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Nice.
All that sounds very interesting. So I'm definitely excited to play this.
It's a fun game. I mean, there's a lot of limitations to the easy FPS editor engine.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so almost so many. Sorry, go ahead.
I have a feeling I was about to ask what you were going to go into. I was going to say, what sort of challenges do you have with creating some, or I should say adapting something, in a game engine like that.
Well, I certainly wouldn't do it without, somebody like Sam reaching out.
Yeah.
Like Sam just basically sold me on it.
He nurtures people with it.
I mean, he's good because he's earnest. That's why. He means it. Like he loves the engine. He loves what he does, and like that's why he's perfect to sort of work with on this. So that was enough for me to give it a chance. I would never in a million years, like I would stick to Unity, something like that, and build something outright from the ground up because you have a lot more flexibility. He was sold on it, so he sold me on it, and I mean it's been challenging because the engine itself is still in like alpha phase. They're still developing alphas, and I'm like, releasing our game that we're going to ask people to pay money for that's still in alpha is like, it's got me going, ee. But it's fine. I mean, it's like you kind of get a feeling of what it can do and what its limitations are, and so it works out okay. Yeah,
it reminds me a lot of GZ Doom, or in the United Kingdom we would say GZ Doom, but I refuse to call it that.
GZ.
It has it has that kind of retro blockiness to it, where even if you just see a screenshot of it, you can tell what game engine it's built in. Whereas something like, well, to a degree, you can with Unity. Unity has, I don't know what it's officially called, but I call it the square effect. Whereas like the models and stuff, you can see that they're made up of like little squares and stuff. I mentioned it in a previous episode. I seem to be the only person that notices it. But with like an Unreal game, it could look like anything. And to me, that's what strips the creativity out of game making. Like Deadforge and I are a fan of the build engine. Immediately when you see a build engine game, you can tell that that's a build engine game, and it makes you excited about it. No one bought a game because it's made in the Unreal Engine, but they'll buy it because it's made in GZ Doom or Easy FPS Editor or the build engine, because it comes with a certain, nostalgic kick to it that you're like, yeah, I love what that does, But,
I still wish we would get more like build engine games.
I do as well.
Like,
it feels like Ion Fury was the only one that really got made. AWOL was another one, but there are no large
AWOL is pretty good. It's still free too. It's still free.
Yeah. I download it occasionally. I'll jump into it as well. It is
actually pretty good.
Yeah. It's not a fly-by-night thing. You can tell somebody actually they wanted to make a proper game out of it.
Well, that's why you want to play it. Is because people took the time and like put. But you take something that's a little rough around the edges, hard to develop in, and then you get a good game, or at least a decently good game out of it. Somebody took some time.
Yeah.
A lot of love.
Would you make another game in a different game engine, or would you use the Easy FPS Editor again?
How about we create our own engine and like no, I know it's like Sam actually told me, he goes, I hope you're still excited about EFPSE. And I was like, I am, but I don't know if I have, because I know like for instance, I would do one thing I was thinking about is wouldn't it be great to do kind of an expansion, not an expansion pack, but like an expansion of this and go back and see Night Jackal when he is in the 80s fighting at the top of his game and like I said that would be fun. Him fighting his different characters and all that. And you could do that in EFPSE pretty easily. But I know the second I get into it, I'm going to want to do things that are going to take a lot of time, and it's just going to consume my life. Like this game is basically consumed my life because I'm fully into this, and like I'm so busy because I have 2 children, and like we just moved to Austin, and like there's so many things going on. But this is my life, and that's what it would wind up being. And if that's the case, I kind of want the control of developing a different engine out. The one thing I will say about Easy FPS Editor, and it's really, really, really cool, because the community is fantastic. Like if you go on Discord, the community is fucking just so good. And the people that work on it, there's a person who worked on the original developer, and then it got passed off this other guy named Clark, who has created the CE version, which is Clark Edition. And that's where we're all working in, was the alpha. And he still pops in and he's like working on a new update. And I gave him a bug and he's fixing that. And like, it's just such a great community. And everybody's so passionate. That carries a lot of weight. That means a lot to people like me who want to work in it, and everybody loves it, and it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get in there and make a really cheap, crappy game if you wanted to, but you can get in there and really kind of do something fun and unique. You have to work at it. I don't know if I'm going to make another one in this. We'll see. Time will tell. I've got other things I want to work on, but we'll see. So I'm trying to remember when we did the first Night Jackal game, and that was, I think it was around 2017. And around that time, I used that as something to do in between. So I'm a filmmaker originally, right? So that's what I was doing, and I shot a short in 2017. Apologize, my throat's dry for some reason. Probably the nerves.
Nerves? Oh, I thought it was the sexual tension. Sorry about that, mate. It was...
Well, that too. I thought we'd no sexy talk, remember? But no, in 2017, I had just shot a short film. We released it in 2019, and it did really well. It went to festival circuit, and then we picked up the attention of a indie producer who is really well known, and she loved it. And I had the feature version of the script, and I shared it with her, and she said, this is great. And we were going to go out and make the movie. So we had a visual effects company lined up. I said, how likely do you think we're going to make this? And she was like, very. She goes, it's going to get made. She goes, now, whether or not we get, a $3 million budget, or if we just wound up getting $100,000 and we make it work, that's a different story. And she'd been around the block. I mean, she did some popular things on Netflix and all this. Excuse me. I swear it's like my throat.
I can edit it all out. I don't care if you need to go take a shit, mate. We can edit it out.
Just put all the coughs in as a montage here. I want only coughs. Just me clearing my throat, going. That's the way you should start the podcast.
Yeah, the very beginning, right after the intro.
So anyway, long story short, like we were putting a package together, and we were going to reach out to different actresses and to play the lead. It was like a horror genre film kind of thing. And COVID happened, and everything went south. And I had just finished a music video, and then I had a short film that I just had in the can, and I was looking for visual effects. My visual effects artist I used on the previous film took a swing at a sheriff's deputy and got arrested. Long story.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And so I lost him. So I was scrambling to find new guys, wound up. And I mean, like, everything was falling into place. COVID happens. Everything fell apart. Even like I had managers lined up. They ghosted. My producer ghosted. Everybody just disappeared. And the whole thing just fell apart. And I was like, fuck. Like, here I am, like, this close.
Yeah.
This close, finally. And I've been out in LA for a long time, like working. And I was like, I have a project that's really good. And so I get really just upset. I'm just kind of like, so I take a couple days to drink a little bit, come out of that little bender, and I go, I need to do something. I need to channel this energy and like this creative focus. It's immediately what I did. And I got into doing comics, and in the development side, got into like Web3, like blockchain and stuff like that, just more the coding side, not the speculative crypto side. And started trying to merge those two. It was a big focus of mine at the time. And then made the 3 comics, said, well, where's the audience? Because these are like, they cost a lot of money. You hire an artist and all that. Like $8,000 each, different just dropping to like.
I got a friend that's a comic book artist, and he's discussed it in the past. Yeah.
It's expensive. And you can only do that so far. But when you make like 3 comics, you're like, look, if the audience isn't like lining up, I can't continue these on, because I had a whole story I wanted to write. So that's really where the comics came from. I have 3 that are available right now. You can go to like, was it inkvault.io, and there's a reader that I created that's pretty cool. You can click cinema mode, and it goes through like panel to panel flow, and there's like little animations and stuff. So you get to certain ones, they'll shake and do like little animations and things like that. It was built to be I built it on Mac, so I don't know. I've looked at it on PC. It doesn't work as well, but if you got a Mac, man, it's great.
Okay,
but it's fun. I mean, there's three available, which was your question, and That's how they came about. Just me focusing energy, deciding to flesh out the lore of Night Jackal in the whole universe, and it gets big, almost too big, and to where I ultimately want to finish it, because what would be great is the story that's in this little game, the Blood Debt, is a big spoiler to what happens in the longer story of the comics, which is fine. And then when you get to the end of the comics, though, he does have a redemption. He has no redemption in the video game version.
So, do you see Night Jackal as being like a multi-medium sort of? You've got the comic book, you've got the FPS game, you've got the arcade racer. Do you see yourself going into, other different mediums or something?
Sure, why not? I mean, honestly, like I said at the beginning, I'm not precious about it. It's really, if there's a good idea there, if Night Jackal can fit, he'll morph. He's got good bones to kind of build from.
He's got good.
Yeah, so I can
Drinks
build
his milk.
Yes, I can build from that foundation and port him over to different things. And like I said, like so far the 2 video games I've made, very different tone, very different styles, and like he can go.
Is there any reference to the comics in the game?
There's comic artwork that one's in the game, of
Well,
course. Yeah.
secrets that you can find, and when you find
Nice.
them, you hear the Night Jackal theme come on, and it's like if you're playing the first level of the game, the first level is like really serious, and the music is ominous in the background because some shit's gone down.
Right.
And there are bad guys to take out. There's a dead lady friend in the bedroom, so the mood is very strong. And then you'll pick up something. You'll pick up this comic book that you find in the corner of the room. Then you'll hear Night Jackal in the background, and you're like, "What the hell?"
It's
so
cool, 'cause
funny?
I like stuff like that.
Yeah,
I like
oh, sorry, good.
when games let you collect comics or a little like additive things, because like it was like the Punisher video game. I think like Guardians of the Galaxy and a few others allow you to like collect comics or like comic strips or pieces of flashbacks and things like that. Those are always pretty cool little tidbits to add.
Well, it definitely has that as secrets, but like, it's funny. You brought up when you collect the secrets that we have, which is it's basically the 3 comics we have. It's all the different covers. So you have the throwback to the 90s foil, and it's a gold foil, silver foil, monochrome, all this. And so there's quite a number. And when you first start the game, if you turn around and go behind you, there's a door there, and you go through that, and there's all these empty like pedestals that are there. And as you collect, they start filling up.
I never noticed
each
that.
time, when you go to the menu, you go forward to hit start. If you go backwards behind you, there's a door directly behind you, and that's where all your secrets will be. But when you pick up a comic, that sound of like, so at first it was just the sound of the sound that you heard at the beginning of that sound effect, like pachunk or whatever. And Sam had the idea. He was like, "You should put the Night Jackal theme in there." So I did, and then I told him, I was like, "I don't know about this tone." I was like, "You got this ominous, like," I said the same thing you did, and then I was like, "Well, I'm gonna leave it in because I want you to hear it." And I played through the thing, and it's grown on me. And so he played it. He was like, "I don't know if I like this." And I was like, "You know what's funny? I love it. And I think we should really keep it because there's something odd and peculiar about it. I just love it so much."
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where the guest has 5 minutes to answer 5 randomized questions, including one trick question.
Okay.
So let's start with number 1. What would someone who doesn't know you well be most surprised about?
That my friends call me Harassal.
Oh, well, sorry. All I heard was I hang around in bushes outside women's houses when you said harassal.
That too.
What?
So you're saying you're Batman?
Yeah,
You're
I
the
just
Night-
show
you're
I
the
creep
Night
in
Jackal?
shadows. Gordon, Commissioner Gordon sent me when the Joker's here in it. No, they call me Harassal. That used to be my nickname. They said I was the asshole with the heart of gold because I bust balls all the time. This was back in college.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
That's
They
probably
call
not
me
a great
dickhead.
answer, but that's an answer.
Question number 2. What's something in your fridge right now that should probably be thrown out?
I mean, we don't have a lot because we just moved and we have kids. Well, what should have been thrown out was some prosciutto that was past the expiration date, but I ate it the other night. So, because my wife's like, we need to throw it out. I was like hell we are. I was like, it was like 5 days.
I'm eating the whole thing.
Yeah,
I don't care if it gives me the shit.
I had a bottle of wine and I was watching some TV and I was like, I need a little break right now. I'm gonna eat some prosciutto. This is great.
Eat some prosciutto. Hey, prosciutto is pretty good though, so I don't blame you.
Amazing.
Question number 3. Who have you met only one time that left a huge impression on you?
Courtney Cox.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
From Friends, and the reason why I used to work at a development house. So we were casting a movie. The movie wound up being called Equilibrium with Christian Bale.
Oh,
but
that's a great film.
Yeah. You know that movie? So
Yeah.
It was called Librium originally, and was a Kurt Wimmer film. And so we had a lot of people coming in. Michael Clark Duncan, I think was his name, came in one time. It was funny. He was like, hey, I'm going to go out and smoke a cigarette. I was like, okay. I was just there working the front desk. I was the runner. I was like low in the totem pole.
Okay.
But Courtney Cox came up and she asked, she was here for an interview. And of course, I see Courtney Cox. I'm like, oh, wow. And this is back in like 99, 2000. Like, she's gorgeous. And she's still gorgeous, but like she was gorgeous back then. And she came up and she was like, hi, I got a meeting for an interview for this thing. And I was like, oh yeah. And she just looked like she wanted to say something else. And I was like trying to get her to sit, because my job is like get them to sit on the couch and get them a water or something. She was like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay. And she just looked like she wanted to say something else. So I was like, She goes, I'm Courtney. I said, what? And because she looked like she wants to say something else, she was like, Courtney Cox. I was like, I know who you are. So I told her, I was like, I know exactly who you are. And so she was like, oh, okay. I was like, just please have a seat and I'll get you. So that was one. She was great.
That was sweet of her. Yeah. At least, she didn't have, 50 assistants come in first, clear out the lobby, make sure that the pictures were, at the right angle on the wall or something like that. Because you do hear about a lot of people doing that.
There's definitely some actors and other personalities that are like that. Question number 4. What's something that you would be willing to stay up all night to do?
I mean, I stay up all night to do a lot of things.
Yeah,
already.
Yeah.
Stay up all night to do what I'd be willing to. Well, I mean, it's a pretty low bar to do that. Like, I mean, if I'm working on a game, I can stay up all night. It's harder now with kids because it's like, they're thin walls right next door. But I've done that. It's like to do development projects. Oh yeah, writing. If I'm doing writing projects, oh yeah, I'd stay up all night and like. Nothing's better than having a little bit of whiskey, sitting down with a laptop. It's quiet.
Right.
It's quiet outside. Oh, that's a low bar, man. I could do that easily.
All right. Question number 5. If Night Jackal was a movie, who would you want to play the main character?
A comedian, honestly. And
Really?
Yeah, I think a comedian could pull it. You know what's funny is comedians. The reason why is because comedians tap into an absurdity. They understand absurdity really well. And whenever if you can find a good one that can do a well enough job with like a dramatic role, I always find that comedians do better. They have a range. When you try to get somebody dramatic to be funny,
Right.
But you get somebody funny to be dramatic, they can at least be passable, but they can be really good too. I would definitely pick a comedian. I don't know who off the top of my head. Nobody's just screaming and jumping in. But yeah, it would probably be a comedian. I don't know who though.
Yeah.
Robin Williams and Jim Carrey, I think, had really good dramatic turns, considering they were known
Robin
for
Williams,
comedy.
perfect example.
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't he classically trained? I think he was classically trained though.
Was he?
I think so. So he has an excuse.
Yeah, I think he
Not
was.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth, he can pull off comedy, and he has muscles to pull off the action as well.
I think he has a good personality. He's got that
Maybe.
Australian sort of personality. That sort of
Yeah.
it's you know what it is. It's that tall poppy sort of like I'm not going to be a tall poppy, kind of thing. It's like I'm going to be a man of the people. So he knows how to mingle that way.
Yeah.
I think that's more what it is. He's not really hilarious when he's funny.
I believe they're making a Booster Gold TV series. So whoever they cast as Booster Gold, I think that would have been a good Night Jackal person as well.
Did I mention that that's one of the inspirations for Night Jackal was Booster Gold?
You mentioned something.
I think you
mentioned the
mentioned
name.
the other day.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure if I mentioned that. I was like, oh, that's apropos. Yeah. Well, if you grew up in the 80s playing an NES system or in the arcades, it's like, well, first of all, the arcades were made to eat your quarters, so they would make them punishingly hard.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it was. And when we played an NES, they did the same shit. And basically, because of the developers, they didn't want you to beat the game. They were like, if we can't just sit down in a day and beat our game, we have like 7 levels. So people constantly complained about a lot of games having the first level be punishingly difficult, and it wasn't even like a warm-up. And so because they didn't have enough time to develop out a lot of levels, so of course we're going to do the same. And if it's going to be an 80s game, I got to make it 80s hard. So the first one is hard. A lot of people don't get past about the 4th world, whatever the 4th terrain. But yeah, I think Sam telling me that he's like, I'm just not good at that game. I was like, well, you're not really supposed to. Like if you can loop through it one time, you're doing good. I can do that. But as far as Blood Dad, it was a little bit more approachable, because that one I want people to actually beat the game, and it's a little bit more like a video game. Kind of handholds things a little bit. Like I know you had a problem with the atrium and the objective system, things like that. And these are good notes because it's something to work on.
I'll be honest with you. The problem that I had was not finding the atrium. The problem I had was not knowing what an atrium was. So I didn't know what room I was meant to be looking for. I literally Googled what is an atrium. After you gave me the instructions, so I knew what room to go to, so I knew that there were pillars in there that I needed to look behind. Because I'd walked around that room already, and I didn't see the keys, the lockpick keys in there. But when you told me about it, I was like, oh shit, I feel like a bloody idiot now.
Well, see, but this is a game that's a little different than the racer game, because when you told me that, I was like, oh, I got to make that easier. I'll move that a little bit more in line of sight so that, because it doesn't bother me. I'm like, well, that's great. I want it to be a good experience. I want you to move through it and not be caught up too much. Yeah. So I'm going to have things be a little challenging, but I'm not trying to make this one 80s hard. Like this could be early 90s, semi-hard.
I think a lot of people forget that back in like the Nintendo and Super Nintendo days, a lot of games, it was very standard for you to just have 3 lives. But it'd only take you an hour to beat the game because, of course, they're very smaller cartridges, in terms of storage and that sort of thing. And then suddenly nowadays, of course, the concept of having 3 lives for a game and playing for an hour is completely foreign. If you play like Battlefield, the concept of having lives in a video game is just so weird now.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like the 2010 Splatterhouse, but I also like the previous 3. And especially the first one is a game that you could probably beat in, I think it's like 15 minutes. If you got like really good at it, you could beat it in like 15 minutes. But I think it was both a console game and an arcade game. And it was just, it is still to this day a brutally difficult game. That, I think on average, most people probably spend like a few hours beating it, but it is only like really a 15-minute long game. And I think a lot of games at that time were like that. It's kind of like I was playing, what was it? Halloween and Ash vs. Evil Dead by Boss Team Games, the side-scroller games. Super fun games, relatively difficult. They're about like 3 hours a piece. But there was people out there who were like, oh, these games are just so stupid hard. Like, I just keep getting killed by stupid things and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, it's kind of like, they're kind of an ode to old. They're like,
meant to be that way.
Purposely trying to be that way. But I've I didn't grow up with like NES and SNES because I'm a little bit younger, but I did kind of though, because like I did have an uncle and a father who had these things. I did play like Sega Genesis and a little bit of SNES, a little bit of NES, N64. And I would go as far as to say that games stayed relatively difficult all the way up until like the Xbox PS2 era. And when we got into 360 and PS3, while it was still there at times, it was largely getting to the point where games were so much more mainstream. Wasn't as blatant as like yellow paint, but they were a lot more handholdy and they were a lot more straightforward. And you know, they were starting to become more cinematic experiences, less about replayability. You know, because a lot of those old games, not only were they difficult, not only were they short games that took forever to beat, but like they were meant to be replayed. We were supposed to find the secrets, unlock the different things, and unlock bonus items or bonus levels or secrets or costumes or whatever. Where nowadays it's like games are meant to be played one and done, and that is it. So I think the need for difficulty kind of waned as we made games that were not meant to be replayed. So there was no point in actually learning how to be good at the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think games like I would say Doom 2016 is an extremely easy game, but I'd say that games like that, and especially games like Doom Eternal and like Dark Souls and whatever, have slowly brought back this difficulty in games. And then they just came out with Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which had a huge uproar about how difficult it was. It's such a great game. Such a great game. And then you got like they're bringing back Shinobi and 2D Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, Jim's working on that.
Great.
That's amazing.
I'm happy to see like more games like going for difficulty and challenge and like making you have to learn how to play the game, because I don't think being able to breeze through everything is always great. I mean, sure, a good walking simulator. Shinobi looks great. Art of Vengeance. Yeah,
I never in my wildest dreams thought that Ninja Gaiden would come back, and then that and Shinobi pretty much hit around the same time. And for me, growing up with it, Heath, you look like you're a similar age to myself. For us growing up with it,
probably a little older, but yes, you look like a young buck.
I'm 45, so
I'm a little up there.
Yeah. So, but you would have remembered back when we were younger that Ninja Gaiden and Shinobi were kind of seen as the two things together. One was never viewed as like a rip-off of the other. They were seen as kind of the two ninja games that you played.
We were also not super cynical back then. I feel like now people are so incredibly cynical about everything.
Yeah.
But like,
oh yes.
And also, this is the reason why, again, I told you, it's like bringing it back to DOSMan Games a little bit, like the Flash of the Blade. It was called Flash of the Blade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
again, this is the reason. That's why I'm such a big fan of Shinobi and Ninja Gaiden from back in the day. That's why that resonates with me. I watched every, even crappy 80s like ninja movie that would come on HBO during the day. I would watch all of them.
What's fun about all these different kind of games coming back, and difficulty coming back, and more simple games with a I guess a more difficult gameplay to grasp that you have to really figure out, is that like nowadays, simple fun and simple entertainment is looked down upon if it's not something that's so extravagant and just pushing past the stars. It's kind of like, we don't care. And if a video game is just a video game, nobody really cares. But we're slowly getting to the point where those kind of things are coming back because people are so tired of playing the same thing over and over, so tired of playing things that are constantly trying to like one up the next thing or the last thing, or like, I like my games to be, extravagant sometimes. I like them to be about something and have meaning, but I also don't mind to sit down and play like an old school God of War or like an Evil West or a Duke Nukem and just say screw it and pass some time, have a good time, and just laugh and blow things up, And I think we need more of the laughing and blowing things up when it comes to video games and film. I
think we're definitely in the era of like absurdity right now. I think that there's something to be said about, and I think younger generations especially, like Gen Z is 100% leaning into the pedal of like absurdity right now. It's just an echo of things politically in our climate and all that. But the cynicism is what's so funny about that, because you touch on a lot of things that are, God, it would just Yes. The cynicism that you see right now, I don't think, like you talk about movies and Hollywood, I don't think Hollywood can process it. They don't know what to do with it. They see the cynicism there because you've got social media where everybody has an opinion, and half the time it's fucking negative. And that's why I'm just like, I mean, I could give a shit what people you're asking is like, how do I not alienate the casual game? I don't give a shit. That's how I do it. Because they're going to come to it and say, I don't like it. And I'll be like, well, then it's not a game for you. Yeah. And you can watch the trailer and see. It's not that I'm not building games for the audience. I want people to love the game, of course. Who doesn't? Just like when you write a movie or a script or something, yeah, you want people to watch it and love it. It's just not the case. There's always, and it's also going to be people that just want to shit on things. So I don't think Hollywood can really, they don't know how to deal with that. So when you get movies like, take Venom, for instance, I don't know how that made it through the process, but it did. And it was this throwback to old school, smaller story, even though it's big, but it's still small. And it works because that's exactly what people wanted to see. It's short. It just kind of tells a simple story. Then they said, oh my God, they love it. So in the second one, we're going to bring in Carnage, and I got excited. And then they said, we're going to bring in Carnage, and we're going to make it big, and we're going to make it this, and it sucked. And the same thing with the third one, like we got to bring in a Venom horse, and it sucked. And it's like, go back to what you did the first movie. Yeah. It's because they're afraid of people criticizing them, and they think that they have to Marvel-tize everything. It's a silly.
I mean, to be fair, I'm surprised that it even got a 2 or a 3 because it wasn't popular. It didn't do well. Overall, it was reviewed relatively low because of it being so old school in design.
You know, it really depends on what the idea is of the moment. Like I love being reverent towards material if it's a material that needs to stay grounded or something. Night Jackal's not that. So it's would really depend on what the material is, what I'm going for at the time. If it was, for instance, if it was a movie, I would probably look at what they're doing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and DC Cinematic Universe and say, I'm going to do the opposite of that. Like I would want to lean into something different and maybe keep the story fairly small. It really depends. It really depends on the moment. Like I think every time Night Jackal kind of morphs into something, it can be its own thing. I think the comics were something that I bit off more than I could chew because it was a pandemic thing. And I was like, I remember going out with my wife. We had during the pandemic, they had opened up the outside. You could sit outside and eat in the restaurants. And I was like, I got this idea, and it's going to be this, and it's going to be this, and then they could do this. And I was telling her all these big ideas. She was like, this is great. And then I sat down to write, and I was like, this is way too fucking big for this. This is like, I have 3 issues in, and I'm like, I thought that I would be 1 issue. And largely because I just didn't understand the comic. Medium as well. But it really depends. If it got into a movie, for instance, it won't, but if it ever did, yeah, great, it'll be its thing. But he's got legs. He's easy.
Yeah, that's actually something that I really love that you say that, because like people are so, when it comes to adaptation, everybody's like, oh, but it has to be this, it has to be this, it has to be this. It's like this thing and this thing have to be the same. They can't be different, even if it's different mediums. They have to be the same. And I'm one. I'm like, adaptations are adaptations. Like, it don't matter if you want to make it a comic, video game, a movie, a TV show, a series of cards, whatever. Just do it however you want to do it. As long as it largely sticks to what it is. But just do it how you want to do it. Have fun.
And also, sorry, go
ahead. Just before you go into, if they did make a movie of it, which you mentioned, would you want it to be a $200 million movie or a $20 million movie?
20 million, 100%, easy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Movies like the larger ones, they're made by committee, or the originality disappears out of it. If you have a lower budget on it, you can be a lot more creative, take a lot more risks, and do something that is very much non-Marvel and DC-ish.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a little bit of something I know about in terms of the wheelhouse. I understand why Hollywood has Marvelized everything, why everything's by committee. The studio is in charge now. Last time that happened, it was the 1950s and early 60s. And they were losing money. Just like now, they were investing a lot into technology. Sounds like today, it's like streaming, green screen, all that. But in the 60s and 50s, it was like, hey, look, CinemaScope came out, Technicolor, you got, all these different things came out. And they were losing, or they weren't making as much as they should. Let's just say that instead of just losing money. Everybody says losing money. And then you had the big shift, which was called American New Wave, that happened. And you had films like Easy Rider, you had Godfather, you had Star Wars, and Raging Bull. All of these came out and put everything. In fact, this is where the blockbuster was created in Hollywood. Everything got put on its ear, and so the director was king until Francis Ford Coppola. Long story. And then it was, the studio had to step in and say, well, maybe, look, Quentin Tarantino made this big thing in the 90s. Maybe the writer is king. And then, So we're now at the point where we're back to the studio being king. And it's a big corporatized mess. And they're due for a big change. I don't know when it's going to come, but it's not going to be these big $200, $300 million movies. It's going to have to go back to something more manageable.
Definitely.
Good point of view.
Definitely.
Yeah, good point of view.
I think some of the best movies in the last handful of years have actually been some that are a little bit lower budget on the end of, like, I guess, Hollywood type films. Movies like, was it like The Creator? That was I forget the
That looks so
name.
much more expensive than it actually was.
Yeah, it was the same guy that did Rogue One.
Yeah, Gareth Edwards.
Yeah, and Rogue One, on the other hand, was like one of the best Star Wars films in a long time, in my opinion. Movies like the one I mentioned, Bad Times at El Royale, like, the entire movie was filmed, like, they built an entire set in like a warehouse or whatever, but the entire thing was like filmed right there, and it's really good, really cool. But it was I can't remember what it was, but the budget was pretty small. There's like several others. I can't really think of it off the top of my head, but there's a lot of cool ones. They were like relatively low budget. They were really cool. And then there's also like, there's a lot of stuff, just doing interesting things that are on lower budget as well. I mean, I think the same goes for video games. Like, we get all these like super high budget video games, they end up repeating themselves.
Yeah.
And then you start getting some of these like AA games. You get things like the original Hellblade, or you get like Plague Tale, or then you get even
Space Marines,
like the more recent Shadow Warrior or Space Marines. Or, I mean, there's so many examples. And then you look at the indie scene, and you get games like Night Jackal. You get games, like Blood Match and Reaper, or you get the Fallen Aces and the Dusks and all these things. And it's like, it's kind of crazy, like how many indie games are coming out, and they're all so many good ones. And like some of them are even going like viral, making more money than any of these like Ubisoft games and things like that. And like just doing better, getting better reviews, getting more coverage.
And none of the sin in
it's just like, what is it? What's that one game made by one of the Szymanski brothers that's getting a movie?
Iron Lung.
Iron Lung, yeah. I mean, it's just like a horror game that's getting a movie, and it's wild. But it just shows that like interesting and creative stuff, no matter the budget, will always surpass these things that are crafted specifically to be the most digestible thing possible. And it's just like the way you view difficulty. You're not making either your original game or this game to be accessible to every single human being, difficulty wise. But, if they're willing to meet the game on its level and learn, then they can, surpass it. Like even the hardest games in the arcade, you could get really good at them if you just learned how they work, even if they were, some of them were pretty cheap. I think, just being creative and creating things that you want to create and not creating something that is just digestible for people will always surpass those things that are, made by a series
Yeah.
of checklists of like, okay, we got this and this and this and this.
And the communities are always so much friendlier as well. When you look at the AAA scene, everything is kind of so cynical. Everything is always, you're either in our tribe or you're in their tribe. And you don't see that like within streaming services. I think I mentioned it before. Like when you look at Xbox and PlayStation, the way they belittle each other instead of just enjoying the same hobby. You don't see
Right.
Netflix fans.
Console
and
wars have always been one
Hulu
of the
fans,
dumbest things ever.
So dumb.
Yeah, Disney Plus fans are not like, oh, that Netflix crap. There's none of that bullshit. They're just,
Yeah.
it's very, when you
No.
get the higher, bigger games, I think the entire community becomes a lot more poisonous around it. And when
Yeah.
you go indie,
Well, because it's
when you
That's
go
right, I
indie,
what
agree.
I was going to say was
But I
everyone
think
is great.
Oh, there's a delay.
PlayStation for life. PlayStation for life. PlayStation for life.
All right, I'm ending this goddamn podcast right now, yeah? So you go.
PlayStation 1. PlayStation 1.
So our next guest, have you heard of a game called Threshold?
Why does that sound familiar? I want to say no, but it sounds familiar. So,
Yeah.
is it
Very,
something?
very popular indie game that's come out.
Yeah, it's Julian. I don't want to say his last name.
Ivile or something like that. His name is, but he's
Evalier or
worked.
something.
Yeah,
along those lines. We apologize for butchering it, probably.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll.
yeah,
I
he
apologize for
correct
not knowing the
us.
game is popular, so I apologize.
But yeah, well, I don't know how like high popularity wise it got, but it was a very like small personal project by a guy. I think he still works for Arcane Studios actually. He worked on Deathloop, Dishonored, and different things
Deathloop,
like
yeah.
that.
So Julian is going to be our next guest on there. So if you had the opportunity as a developer to ask Julian any question, what would it be? And we'll put it to him.
That's a hard one. God, what would I ask him?
Take
Well,
your time.
without knowing
I
his
can
game.
edit out.
Yeah, without knowing his game, that's going to be very difficult because I don't know anything specific to him. Well, I mean, I want to know where the idea for the mechanic came from. Because if there's a mechanic where you are like, so when you played Night Jackal, you obviously saw the breathing mechanic where you have to hold
Yeah.
your breath.
Yeah.
That's very standard to go underwater. It's like Sonic sort of thing. You go underwater and you have a time limit. I haven't played the game, but it seems like the mechanic would be it's thin, so you overexert yourself. There's kind of a mechanic similar to that, but it's in the open. It kind of is like you remember North by Northwest? It's like you had this big thriller sequence out in the wide open where it's like normally you'd be in a closed area being chased, and this is like you're in the wide open and a plane chase.
Yeah.
Those kind of ideas are so fresh. So my question would be, where did the inspiration to come up with that mechanic be in such a fresh setting?
Yeah.
That's such a unique setting.
Very good question. Actually. Mhm.
When you were talking about how difficult it was to make a movie, I was getting flashbacks to when I was younger because I did film and television at university and then went on to try to make a movie. And that fell apart after I'd had the meeting with all the actors and stuff because of the financing. So, like when you're out of the studio system, you have to find, 50,000 from this place, 100,000 from that place. And each person, each organization has its own stipulations. You need to have XYZ amount of staff members from here. You need to film over there. They can never agree on terms. So I was never able to please all of the people, and then basically the whole thing fell apart. And this whole YouTube thing is a marketing thing, is essentially the life I ended up living because I was never able to go to Hollywood and be a film director. Had that movie happen, God knows where we'd all be right now.
Being somebody that shot a few things in LA, it's not what it's cracked up to be. It's so much easier outside. You think it would be the place to be. It is tough.
Yeah.
You get run out of. They're so savvy. I remember one time, as a little tangent here, you can cut this out, but like, I was shooting something, was like an indie film, and we went up. There's this place called Griffith Park, which is basically like a scrubland, like it's like a little mountain. It's like trails and things like that, and hiking trail. we went up there and we were shooting. We're very low key. Like we sent like 7 people up, and then 2 of those were actors, and we are just going to shoot all one way. And we're covering over the camera. Sound guy had everything, so we're being very low key, very very low key. And it's so far up, like there was maybe 3 people total coming by, and we didn't stop anybody. We didn't say you can't walk. Public park. They had the Rangers come out, and they actually broke out fucking helicopters come out to police us. So when we're shooting this, we shot all one direction, and then they were like, you gotta leave. And we're walking down and we're trying to figure out what are we gonna do? We gotta finish the scene. And so we went down and we broke for lunch at the bottom because they couldn't stop us from doing that. Can't stop you for eating, but they can stop you from shooting. And so my first AD was like, let's go for a walk. We went into the woods. Like, it was a little woods area next to the parking lot. And went out there and he's like, maybe we can shoot here. We did it, and there was like this big hill. And we looked up, and there was the fucking Rangers right there looking down at us like what? I was like, you guys have nothing else to do, just making sure that these
follow us around.
I mean, they broke out helicopters with like fucking helicopters flying
Insane.
around. Like, you got to be kidding me! We're like an indie crew. We sent 7 people up, and most people stayed down to the bottom. But they're so savvy, and because they get paid, they want the money. And like, yeah, it's a you're talking about cynicism, boy. If you can stay in LA for like 20 years and not be cynical, you're doing something right.
We were talking about, because I was talking about making the games or whatever, and I kind of like dip my toes in too much. I feel like, because like I'm trying to do voice acting and some other things, and I've dabbled into doing some little skits with some of my videos that I do on YouTube, and I actually really want to make like a short film. And that's just something that's interested me for a while, because I've always liked film, and I kind of want to try something. And I've actually kind of thought about, if I end up doing that maybe my game will be somehow connected to that short film that I create this little universe.
That's not a bad idea. I mean, if you can keep them sort of contained like that, and one starts
film some
making,
cutscenes.
and one starts getting popular, then the other one can, it's like that's not a bad idea.
If not, do some like Max Payne, comic book panels or something, and tell your story that way.
True. You can do that. Yeah.
Thanks everyone for joining us for this DOSMan Games special episode with Heath and his new game. Fuck off. I'm trying to think 3 sentences ahead.
That's the new name. That's the new name. You got it right. Keep going.
I'm thinking 3 sentences ahead. I'm keeping this in as an outtake.
That's good. Shit.
It's called.
Thanks everyone for joining us for this special episode of the Quad Damage Podcast. Heath and DOSMan repping here in regards to their new game, Night Jackal Blood Debt. I got it right this time. Heath, where can everyone find yourself and DOSMan to learn more about the game?
Yes. Well, DOSMan, of course. What's his Twitter handle? It's DOSMan Games.
It's literally DOSMan Games.
I think it is.
Okay. I was not prepared for this. Is the one question I wasn't prepared for. I'm Heath C. Michaels. You can at me at like X at Heath C. Michaels. Most everything else, I'm either Wandering Me or Wandering Heath. YouTube, Wandering Heath. I mean, I've got 12 different usernames. I mean, it's not. This is just like
one for each country. You need to dip from the law to.
But you can just come find me. You just look for my name, Heath C. Michaels. You can find me at like Wandering Me, Wandering Heath. Come check me out. I'm very approachable. So
can confirm. Yeah. Deadforge, where can people find yourself?
Of course, you can find me at Deadforge on YouTube, and you can find me at Lord of the RPG on X, and Deadforge on Patreon, and that's pretty much it.
And for me, you can find me at RobbieYapp80 on Twitter /X. You can find us at the Quad Dam Podcast on that platform and Blue Sky. Please visit our affiliate store. Please visit our merchandise store. We are on Reddit as well. So until next time, gentlemen. Keep on booming.
Keep on booming.